Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up! I made this cute little shaker card with products from Stampin' Up! I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I have the free detailed directions for this project on my website. You'll be able to click the links for the products that you would like to be taken on my online store at Stampin' Up! You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video, so don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. I'm using classic cloche and the cloche dies. If you buy these together as a bundle, you can save yourself 10%. I'm using the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder, but if you have another embossing folder that you like, you can use that too. My inks are Sahara Sand and Soft Sea Foam. I have a medium envelope, of course. I have a piece of Sahara Sand that's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is my standard card base. I have a piece of basic white that's 4 by 5 1/4 to go on the inside. I have a piece of basic white that's, you really just need 2.5 by 2.5. I have a piece of Sahara Sand that's 4 by 5 1/4. A 1/2-inch strip. When you cut this down, you're going to have a lot of 1/2-inch strips. So you should have scraps left over. Same is true of the basic white. I have 2 1/2-inch strips. One of them, I just had a piece that was 4 inches. I have another one that you probably want to have it at 3.5. I have some of the foam adhesive and some of the adhesive sheet. I have some of the crinkled white ribbon. I love this ribbon. You probably need about 9 inches or so. And if you have it, you want Gidget's Bow Maker. And that will make tying this bow very nicely. And you'll need a glue dot. You will also need a couple of pieces of scrap paper and the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, of course. I'm going to start by cutting out my front layer. So I'll need the number 1 plate, the number 2 plate for die cutting, my cut up plate, and my 4 by 5 1/4 Sahara Sand. Now I spent some time measuring out the, I cut this scrap paper to 4 by 5 1/4, so it's the same size. And I spent some time measuring out where that goes. So it's about 3/4 of an inch up and centered. And then you can put your cloche die in there. Now, if you want to go ahead and tape the cloche die to that piece, you can. And that makes it very easy to cut lots of them. I'll go ahead and stick that on with a sticky note. And then you just need to get that even. And if you put it at a tiny bit of an angle, since you've got a straight side on here, the machine tends to jump if you have a straight side like that. The slightest little tilt will help a lot. So I'm going to cover this up with another clear plate and roll that through. If you don't want to take time to make that template and measure it out and everything, it's okay. If it's a little bit off, that's totally fine. This is scrap, but we're going to need that one. We're going to use the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. Now this is a 3D embossing folder. So we're going to use the number 4 embossing plate and roll that through. And that gives a really pretty texture. And we're going to do some more die cutting, so we're going to bring this back in. And I'm going to put the adhesive sheet. It's got 2 layers of backing on it, so I'm going to pull off one and put this on here. And I don't really need it this long, so I'm going to just leave that backing on there, I think. This one's also longer than I need. And so this is the foam adhesive. And put that on there. And I need my piece of basic white. And I'm going to use this piece on the foam. I must have. This piece on the basic white. And this piece on the Sahara sand. And I was a little worried having the thicker and the thinner on here that it would cause problems, but it really does not at all. So I'm just going to roll those through. That popping is just totally fine. You're not breaking anything. It's actually probably popping over this straight edge, and so I didn't put that at a tilt, and I should have. A couple of more very important things that you're going to need are these cloche shaker domes. You get 10 of them in a pack, and you're only going to need one for each card. And we also need something to shake. Now I wanted it to be kind of like snow, so I looked on Amazon and I found these these are for cake decorating. I wasn't sure how big these dots were going to be, and I thought that maybe a few of these would be okay, but really smaller little sprinkles would be better. And I ran across these at our local discount home goods store, and these are perfect actually. So it's got the same snowflakes and it's got smaller dots. And this is probably a lifetime supply because you only need 1/4 of a teaspoon of this. I'm going to stamp warmth, joy, and happiness on the 3.5-inch strip in Sahara Sand ink. And then this piece, you could actually stamp before you cut it out, either way. This is called 2-step stamping, but it's actually 3 steps. These 3 all can be stamped one at a time. So I'm going to pull those 3 out. There's one that's almost solid. You can just barely see the images. And there's one that's got a lot of holes in it. And then one that's our line drawing. The same thing is true with these. You stamp the birds that are the outline, and then you can color in the birds, and then these color in the sprigs. We're going to stamp the line drawing full strength on this piece. So I'm way up at the top, and I'm trying to get the steeple right there to fit. This is really a lot easier to do when you don't have the camera in the way and you're putting your head in there. The one that's almost solid, we're going to stamp, and then we're going to stamp off on scratch paper. And if you line up the windows, you'll be doing a pretty good job of stamping. And then this one is basically the houses, and we're going to stamp them in the soft seafoam. And those go on full strength. And again, you're going to look for those windows. Pretty easy with the clear photopolymer stamps. On the inside layer, we're going to stamp in Sahara sand. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And we can go ahead and put this on the inside. We're going to just set this piece here. We don't really want to glue it down just yet. And we can go ahead and we can put adhesive on the back of this piece and get it ready. So we want to put this carefully in there, and we want to put this down near the bottom. There will be a border. And if you make this and this and this be all about the same, you'll be perfect. Then you're going to set this, you want this to be down, and you're lifting up the top piece. This has adhesive on both sides. So we're going to pick up the top layer of backing and then set this down on top. And if you aim for the top of the cloche first, that's kind of the tightest here, and push that down. And then we want to put our sprinkles on. So I'm going to make sure that that's nice and flat, and I can even put something up here just to keep that. I can actually put something on there just to keep that down for now. And as I said, you only need 1/4 of a teaspoon. And you want to keep these as corralled as possible. And these little balls do roll around. I got ahead of myself. I wanted to put this piece on, and so we just need to remove this backing piece. And that sets it on top. And then remove this backing piece and put adhesive all the way around. And then the challenge is to put this on and get it centered without losing any of your little shaker pieces. And there you go. Not so difficult. Then we have this kind of a wooden base. There is another piece that you can cut out that goes behind this too, but we're putting it on the same color. So I need to remove that backing and set this down. Just to kind of have a surface for it to go onto. And then I want to trim the ends of this. I want to make sure that this is the size I want it, perfect. And then trim the ends. You can flag the ends with your tailored tag punch. or you can cut them. Now I got pretty wild and crazy. Let me show you how I should have done it. If you cut up the middle and then cut from the corners into to your snip, it will be much more even. So, and I happen to have a scrap of that foam. You could use dimensionals on this, but since I already had a scrap of the foam that was the right size, I'm going to stick that on the back. And this goes above. And then we want a bow. So with the Gidget's Bow Maker, I wrap it around. I usually keep it still attached to the spool. And so the short end is going to go over the top. And it goes down and through the goalpost and over the top. And then just tie a knot. If it gets, if your knot is sideways, that's okay. You can just kind of roll that knot to the center. It's very forgiving. And I find it easier to trim my ends while it's on the bow maker. You can get your own bow maker from Gidget. I've got a link for it on my website. I'll try and remember to put this on this particular video. That slides up the top, and I can glue that on the front, and there it is. Now this does go in a medium envelope, but just barely, to be honest with you. I think that this might be better for handing to somebody. If you want to send it through the post office, though, you can put it in a padded envelope and it might fare a lot better. And it will require some extra postage, I'm sure. I like that foam hill kind of captures some of the snow on top of that. And it's got some static today. We've got very dry wind today here. But there's a fun shaker card. Wishing you warmth, joy, and happiness. Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. Just click the links and you'll be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! Also on my website, you can click home near the top of the page to find lots of resources. Under Shop, you can find the products I offer to make crafting more convenient, how to get free products with my frequent shopper rewards, and a link to my online store at Stampin' Up! Click Inspiration to scroll all my projects back to 2011, most with detailed directions and videos. Though the products in those older projects have been retired, you may find techniques, layouts, and color combinations to inspire you today. If you're new to stamping, you might want to take a look at the basics. You'll find out how to cut card bases and layers, and what's special about Stampin' Up!, and some of my favorite tools. Under Organization, you'll find tons of free resources such as catalog tabs, labels and case inserts, color tools, and much more. You can take a tour of my craft wall. More organization means more time for crafting. Come stamp with me here in Ventura County, California, or get the best deal of all and join my team of crafters. The team is called SIP Together, and it stands for Stamps, Ink, and Paper Together. The team is made of crafters who want to save money on the products they buy, share with a few friends, or grow a business like mine. Be sure to subscribe to my website and on YouTube. Talk to you soon. Bye.